any of the designated stops by indicating with your hand. So hold on to your hats as we set off on a fascinating journey around the UK's London by the Sea. The I-360 has been created by the team who developed the London Eye, the UK's most popular paid tourist attraction. The Brighton I-360 is the world's tallest moving observation tower. Sea views, shop, toilet facilities, children's play zone, as well as exhibition and hospitality rooms for parties and weddings. At the upper level, we can see the beautiful heritage toll booths dating from 1866. These originally formed part of the Grade 1 listed West Pier. One is a lovingly restored original, and the other a reproduction, as the pair did not survive. They are now the I-360 ticket office and tea rooms. The toll booths and the sea island are all that remains of the old West Pier. It was designed by Eugenius Birch, who also designed the Brighton Aquarium, now called Sea Life, and was considered the finest pleasure pier ever built. It had a promenade deck, theatre and concert halls. In its heyday, in the 1920s, it attracted over 2 million visitors a year. It closed to the public in 1975, and hopes of restoration were dashed when it was devastated by 2 fires in 2003. estates and all the Regency-style housing in this area must be painted a required colour, a special shade of green, designated by an Act of Parliament. The Grand Avenue mansions in King's Gardens were Hove's first purpose-built apartment block, in which the King often stayed. Jubilee in 1897. The city, and in particular the promenades between the two main piers, have been a popular setting for many film and TV projects over the years, including the classic film Brighton Rock, John Bolting's 1947 film which starred Sir Richard Attenborough as Pinky and was based on Graham Greene's classic novel. The film was remade and released in 2011, starring Dame Helen Mirren. Because the West Pier was destroyed by fire in 2003, nearby Eastbourne Pier was used instead. In 1979, cult film Quadrophenia was also filmed here. It was loosely based on the 1973 rock opera by The Who. It tells the story of the riots between the mods and rockers in 1964, who fought on the seafront, East Street, and the adjoining lanes and alleyways. The construction of the wonderful buildings of Palmeira Square and Adelaide Crescent started in 1830, after the death of King George IV. The Crescent was named after Queen Adelaide, wife of George's successor, King William IV. In 1832, Henry Phillips, the botanist who provided much of the flora for the gardens at the Royal Pavilion, came up with the idea of creating an enormous conservatory on land adjacent to the site some 22 metres high, with a dome formed from cast iron ribs, which were 50 metres in diameter. The Amphitheum, or flower house, was designed to incorporate gravel walks, shrubs and flowers, as well as large tropical, oriental and European trees, which would have attracted birds. The architect, Amon Wiles, who had designed Regency Square, supervised the early stages of construction. Together with the chief engineer, he incorporated a large central pillar to support the iron ribs and the pinnacle of the dome. But it was argued by Phillips that this was unnecessary, and both Wiles and the chief engineer resigned from the project. Just one day after the building was completed, on the 29th of August 1833, the structure gave way and collapsed. No one was killed, and luckily the head gardener, who was alone in the building, escaped in the nick of time. It was not until 1855, when the building of Palmeira Square was resumed, that the debris of broken glass and tangled girders was finally cleared away. It was said Henry Phillips was blind from the shock of seeing the largest of his many projects meet such a disastrous end. Winston Spencer Churchill, probably the most well-known person in English history, once went to school in Hove. Winston spent much of his childhood at boarding schools, and initially he went to St George's Private School in Ascot. His rebellious nature clashed with the strict disciplinary regime at St George's, where he spent an unhappy time. Flogging with the birch was commonplace, and Winston got his fair share. It was probably for this reason, together with his parents' concern that he was a frail child, that a change of school was decided. The preparatory school chosen by his parents was in Hove, at 29 to 30 Brunswick Road, at the top on the left-hand side at the corner of Lansdowne Road. The reason for this choice was that the family doctor, Robson Bruce, practiced in the town. His recommendation was that the fresh sea air would be good for the delicate young Winston. The school was run by two sisters, Kate and Charlotte Thompson, and in a very different manner to his previous school. Winston was shown kindness and sympathy, which was lacking at the earlier school. He was taught there between 1883 and 1885. Winston's memories of the school in Hove were more favourable than the earlier school. He said, "I was allowed to learn things which interested me. French, history, and lots of poetry by heart, and above all, riding and swimming." It was just as well that the school in Hove, close to Dr. Roos, was chosen. Shortly after settling in at the school, Winston caught pneumonia. For 5 days he clung to life. Many others not so fortunate would have died from the ailment. The faithful Dr. Roos barely left his side. Winston came close to death, but with the caring doctor's attention, he eventually pulled through. The name Weston Road originates from the family of Thomas Weston, who owned much of the surrounding land. He also owned Preston Manor to the north of the city, which at one time was owned by the Bishop of Chichester. In 1932, following the death of the last residents, Charles and Ellen Thomas Stanford, the house was bequeathed to the County Borough Council. Preston Manor is now a country house museum, specialising in the recreation of country home life before the First World War. It is well worth a visit. If you wish to take a trip to Preston Park, you will also find the Rookery Rock Garden, the largest municipal rock garden in the country. Laid out in 1935, the garden has 1,350 tons of cheddar stone, with delicate alpine planting, traditional shrubs, ponds, and seating. If you wish to visit Preston Park or Preston Manor, alight from the tour at either stop F at Churchill Square or stop A in North Street, and board one of our number 5 buses. Dyke Road is the location of St Nicholas's Parish Church, where the great and the good are buried. It has been said that the ghostly figure of a woman appears up near the spire of the church. The story goes that she climbed this spire to search the horizon for the ship carrying her true love back home. "I saw the ship on fire in Shoreham Harbour. I fainted and I fell to my death. They say I haunt the spire and graveyard. I do." St Nicholas's churchyard is also famous for housing the remains of Captain Nicholas Tattersall.
After Charles II, King of England, had escaped the sword of his merciless rebels, and his forces had received a fatal overthrow of Worcester, I, Captain Nicholas Tattersall, through prudence, valour, and loyalty to my Majesty, faithfully preserved and conveyed him into France on October the 15th of 1651 in my coal ship, the Surprise. Upon King Charles's return to Britain in 1660, I was granted a pension of £100 per year, and the surprise was transferred into the Royal Navy's fleet and renamed the Royal Escape. I did first take purchase of the old ship inn, where I ended my days as a High Constable of Brighthelmstone. I am now buried at St. Nicholas's churchyard, and a very comfortable place it is too, if I may say.
St. Nicholas's Church was where Henry Allingham, the oldest British person to ever live, who died at the age of 113, was buried. As a First World War veteran, he was given a funeral with full military honours. The service was attended by the Duchess of Gloucester and senior figures from the Royal Navy and Air Force.
It opened for use on May the 11th, 1840, with the opening of the line to Shoreham by Sea. The main terminus building was completed for the first service from London on the 21st of September 1841. The route to Brighton allowed many people to glimpse the sea for the first time. The building, in the Italianate style, popular at the time, was the work of the architect David Moccata, who was responsible for the original stations on the Shoreham line. This is the only one surviving. Its facade is now mostly hidden by the later 1880s porte cochere at the main entrance. Spanning the tracks and rising 22 metres or 75 feet above the platforms is the recently restored magnificent cast iron and glass train shed, which was completed in 1883. Following the curvature of the tracks, the roof is supported on cast iron columns, and all the ironwork was delivered by rail and erected above the existing shed, with not a single day of train service operation being lost. The new train shed was lit by arc lamps supplied by the Hammond Electric Light Company, the generator housed in Regent Iron Foundry, the site of which is now occupied by the Postal Sorting Office in North Road.
The Prince Regent purchased the pavilion in 1807 for £17,000. It had been a simple farmhouse, and in 1787 Henry Holland extended it into a neoclassical building known as the Marine Pavilion. However, this was far too small for the Prince's household and his flamboyant lifestyle. He employed John Nash to enlarge the building, adding the domes and minarets that characterized the original design. This was very much more to his liking, providing the Prince with the perfect venue for his wild parties. At the north gate of the palace and near the entrance are two statues, one of George IV, who built the pavilion, and the other is of Queen Victoria, who sold the pavilion to the people of Brighton. The area behind the pavilion is known as the North Lane, where strips of land, or twittons, were rented annually to farmers. In 1874, the Brighton Museum and Library were built, and more recently the award-winning Jubilee Library and an excellent new shopping area were constructed on nearby waste ground.
Push my back to the wall. And I don't understand. Don't know what took me so long. Oh no.
Your ticket will be valid on our number 7 service to the Old Steine and Brighton Station. This is your Brighton Marina stop for the Marina, cinema, casino, David Lloyd Centre and numerous shops, restaurants and bars.
Maintaining Brighton Palace Pier is a continuous operation, which is managed on a daily basis by a maintenance team called Deck Hands. Painting the pier in its entirety takes 3 months to complete, and this task is executed every year. Please remember, your ticket is valid on all sightseeing routes and Brighton and Hove bus services for your chosen ticket on 1 or 2 days. If you have any questions, please ask a member of our team when you alight.
I